The Harry Potter movies are one of the most incredible escapes that cinema can provide, but that doesn't mean they're perfect. J.K. Rowling has even admitted to a few mysteries left unsolved and plot holes to be questioned. From Sirius Black to the Elder Wand, there are plot holes that left us all hanging. We're here to reveal the top mysteries we can't help but question. Let's just hope Voldemort doesn't hear us talking about him.
We do not speak his name.
Before we dive into the wizarding world, give us a like and subscribe to Screen Rant to be the first notified of all our new content.
Wingardium Leviosa.
Wands, wands, and wands. Let's begin our exploration into the plot holes of Harry Potter with the everlasting wand mystery. The wand situation is somewhat of a fiasco in Harry Potter and goes unnoticed the entirety of the films. Ollivander's wands are made from expensive, precious, and very hard to come by materials for a majority of his wands. However, the cost of the wands don't seem to add up to the value that they're worth. He does say at one point a phoenix gave him her feathers, so perhaps he does acquire these sought-after wand fillers in other ways than purchasing them. But it's hard to believe he gets unicorn hair, dragon heartstring, and thestral hair all for free. Throughout a wizard's life, it's normal to have one wand, which almost becomes an extension of their body. So how do Bellatrix Lestrange and Sirius Black get their wands back after escaping Azkaban? In the Deathly Hallows, Harry uses 2 wands to cast an extremely powerful spell on Malfoy. If you can use 2 wands, why haven't more wizards done this in other battles? Especially if it makes the spells you're throwing more dangerous. It seems odd that Harry's the only one to figure that out in the very last film. But let's be honest, it was epic!
For those of you who haven't taken Polyjuice Potion before, fair warning, it tastes like goblin piss.
Sirius Black. Use Polyjuice! Sirius Black went through a lot for crimes he did not commit, and took an even longer time sorting out his innocence with the Order of the Phoenix. However, once he did, the wizarding world still didn't know he wasn't a crazy mass murderer, so Black had to hide out at Grimmauld Place. Obviously bored and frustrated by being stuck in this house, he decided to turn into his dog form and visit his godson Harry. He was promptly reminded by the Ministry that they know what his dog form looks like, and to not break any other rules further as to not be sent back to Azkaban. When you live within a magical world, you'd think that you'd just question what spell or potion could possibly get me out of this predicament. Such as, say, Polyjuice Potion? Sure, it takes a while to brew, but it certainly seems like even untrained wizards are capable of making it. Not to mention, Sirius has all the time he needs. He could have easily turned into someone from the Ministry, or really any old muggle, just to get out of the house for a while. So why didn't he? Maybe they were somehow watching his every move. But it seems more likely a plot hole than that.
Nothing's pulling the carriage, Harry. It's pulling itself, like always.
Seeing Thestrals too late. Thestrals are the magical bony beasts who pull the carriage from the train into Hogwarts. Luna Lovegood makes friends with Harry because they can both see the beasts. You can only see Thestrals if you have seen death. Now this is where the plot hole comes in. Harry first sees the beasts at the beginning of the Order of the Phoenix, and is shocked that the horseless carriages actually have something pulling them. But at the end of the Goblet of Fire, when Harry has already seen Cedric Diggory killed, he didn't see the beasts. When the tournament is over, Harry has seen death and should have seen the Thestrals. That's not all though. When Harry was a baby, he saw both his parents killed in front of him. We know he has some memory or recollection of these horrific events from his interaction with the Dementors. Harry remembers hearing their screams. Rowling tries to defend the point about Harry not seeing the Thestrals until his 5th year because he needed to internalize Diggory's death. However, that still doesn't add up, seeing as his parents died so many years before. Basically, Harry should have been seeing the Thestrals since the moment he was off that train in year 1.
So you mean this map shows
everyone?
Everyone?
Everyone. Where they are, what they're doing, every minute of every day.
Brilliant!
WORMTAIL'S Weird Bed. This may be the biggest plot hole to date in the entire series. There really is no explanation for it to make sense, whereas some of the other plot holes can be justified by bending other rules and such. This one cannot. When Fred and George Weasley steal the Marauders Map from Filch during their first year at Hogwarts, it's weird that they don't see Peter Pettigrew on the map. During Ron's first year, he was still hiding as the Weasleys' hand-me-down rat Scabbers, which means they would have seen Peter sleeping in Ron's bed every night. Even if they didn't know who Peter was, they definitely knew there was no Peter in Gryffindor at the time, let alone sharing a bed with their brother. After passing the map on to Harry, it still wasn't obvious. Some fans do argue that the twins would have been more focused on secret passages than spying on their mates, but we're certain they've checked Ron's whereabouts to play a prank on him a time or two, in which they would have noticed that Ron was hanging out with someone who didn't exist. Seeing as this would have changed a lot in the series, discovering Wormtail hiding as a rat, it's a pretty big deal. It would have shifted the plot around significantly.
You sold James and Lily to Voldemort, didn't you? I didn't mean to.
The not-so-secret keeper. The choice Lily and James Potter made that puts all of the events of the movie into motion was choosing to trust Pettigrew. Now, this is on the fence of being a bad decision, a gravely and fatally bad decision by Lily and James, and being a poorly thought-out plot point. During the First Wizarding War, Lily and James were forced to go into hiding. To protect their whereabouts, they trusted Pettigrew as their secret keeper. Once a secret is told to a secret keeper, no one else can pass on that secret except them, including the person who gave it. They protected the place they hid with a Fidelius charm. Then, by also adding a secret keeper, the location becomes completely untraceable, meaning their family would be safe. That is, until Pettigrew betrayed them to Lord Voldemort. This was a fatal mistake, costing their lives and leaving Harry with a heavy burden to bear. Why wouldn't they have made one of themselves the secret keeper? Bill Weasley and Fleur made Bill the secret keeper for their beachside home, so it is possible. Why did Lily and James outsource their secret? Practically, yes, there needed to be a catalyst to all the events, but this one minor plot hole would have changed the entire course of the films.
Welcome, my friend. 13 years it's been.
Promises with Death Eaters. The Dark Lord Voldemort may have been the most evil and intelligent leader, but he made one huge mistake, which seems to be more of a plot hole than a decision the character made. With Voldemort's faithful clan of loyal followers, they commit themselves to always serve him. So why didn't Voldemort use the Unbreakable Vow with all of the Death Eaters? We learn about an Unbreakable Vow in The Half-Blood Prince, when Snape vows to help Draco murder Dumbledore to Narcissa. Once the vow is made, if it is broken, the Oathbreaker dies. It just seems like the logical thing to do for this evil dude and would have definitely prevented a substantial amount of betrayal. Seeing as Voldemort is described as one of the most untrusting wizards ever to live, it just seems like the proper insane thing for him to do. Obviously, he wants the most obedience out of his followers as wizardly possible. During the Goblet of Fire, Voldemort says that one of his Death Eaters has left for good. The Unbreakable Vow would have killed his betraying follower. Maybe he just likes to hunt down and kill them himself, which seems like something he'd be into.
A Death Eater named Bellatrix Lestrange used the Cruciatus curse on my parents.
Neville's horrors of the past. Dementors storm the train on the way to Hogwarts and the children feel cold and depressed, whereas Harry hears screams and collapses in agony. Professor Lupin comes rushing over to Harry's rescue, cursing the Dementors away from him. Harry is embarrassed that he reacted in such a strong way and is explained that it was because he had seen true horrors in his past. The screaming he heard was from the night his mother was murdered. So if that's true, then why wasn't Neville Longbottom affected just as strongly? When Neville was a child, his parents were brutally tortured into insanity using the Cruciatus curse. Neville was 16 months old and still visits his parents at St. Mungo's while being raised by his grandmother. Talk about seeing true horrors. In reality, Neville should have been just as affected by the Dementors' presence as Harry was. They were both around the same age when these tragic events happened to them. Surely knowing your parents will never be the same again and locked in St. Mungo's for their entire lives, not to mention witnessing their suffering, would be enough to be affected by the cold, dark Dementors, don't you think?
It answers to you, and you only.
The Elder Wand's true owner. The Elder Wand has dark history attached to it. As Ollivander says, its history is bloody. It's the first of the Hallows and was created by death itself. According to the legend, whoever reunites the Deathly Hallows becomes the Master of Death. The wand was originally owned by Grigorovich until it was stolen by Grindelwald. Dumbledore then defeated Grindelwald and kept the wand until he was killed by Snape. Though killed by Snape, Dumbledore was disarmed by Draco Malfoy, which caused confusion confusion over who the master was. The Dark Lord thought it was Snape, so he killed him, but he was wrong. The wand was loyal to Draco, who was disarmed by Harry, which means, yup, you got it, Harry was the master of the wand at the end of the series. But we are not done yet. Grindelwald won the wand by stunning Gregorovitch. If a wand switched owners every time a spell was cast, there would be chaos. It would also allude to the fact that if everyone knew you didn't have to kill someone for the wand, they would have known Draco was the master. But if the wand originally was still loyal to Gregorovitch, who was later killed by Voldemort, then Voldemort would be the true owner. Everything is answered by the line,
"The wand chooses the wizard, Mr. Potter."
but we're not convinced it's that easy.
Why are they all standing around that manky old boot? That isn't just any manky old boot, mate. It's a portkey.
Portkey malfunctions. Oh, portkeys. What are we to do with them? If only we had them to transport ourselves to a beach. Portkeys are used within very specific parameters. There are rules around the magical location transferring objects. They're always running to catch the portkey on time, which makes it sound like they run on a schedule, much like a train or a bus. When Harry and the Weasleys run to catch a portkey to the Quidditch Cup, they must hurry to touch it in time. However, the same rules don't apply to Voldemort's portkey. At the end of the Triwizard Tournament, Voldemort uses a portkey to transport Harry to the cemetery. How would Voldemort know when he would reach it? Not to mention, the wizards who placed it there weren't transported, so it would have had to be set up just to function within the maze itself. Once in the cemetery, Harry touches it and is transported back. He's dropped in front of the crowd outside Hogwarts and not back into the maze where the portkey originally resided. There's a few questions left unanswered. How did Voldemort ensure that the portkey was working when Harry reached it? And why did it work to get transported back to a different location than where it originally was?
Hey, she's only interested in you because she thinks you're the chosen one.
But I am the chosen one.
Okay, so what mystery or plot hole did you think left us hanging the most? Did you notice any other plot holes in the Harry Potter movies that haven't been solved? Sound off in the comments below. Give us a like and subscribe to Screen Rant for more awesome videos. Thanks for watching.